Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The House Judiciary Committee has voted to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt of Congress after he refused to turn over the full Mueller report and its underlying evidence.
But the Republicans say Barr is just following the law and he can't release everything. Jenna Browder brings us the story from Washington.
The battle over the full unredacted Mueller report is on as Democrats look to hold Attorney General Bill Barr in contempt of Congress and President Trump invokes executive privilege. He was on the campaign trail last night in Florida and blasted Democrats.
After 2 years, nothing. No collusion.
This as his son, Donald Trump Jr., is subpoenaed by the Republican-led Senate Intelligence Committee as part of its own Russia investigation. They want to question him about his testimony to the committee on a meeting about a failed plan to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. That subpoena came as the war between the White House and Democrats on the Hill ratchets up. The House Judiciary Committee voting to hold Attorney General Barr in contempt of Congress. Chairman Jerry Nadler says we're in a constitutional crisis.
They are stonewalling the American people from all information.
The White House accusing Nadler of a blatant abuse of power. Republicans say Barr is required by law to withhold parts of the report that concern grand jury information. And in this explosive hearing, Representative Jim Jordan charged Democrats with trying to discredit Barr before a Justice Department report on how the intelligence agencies operated during the Russia investigation.
I think it's all about trying to destroy Bill Barr because Democrats are nervous he's going to get to the bottom of everything.
The Justice Department has allowed a few top lawmakers to see a less redacted version of the report, but Democrats say that's not enough. And if the full House moves forward to hold Barr in contempt, this battle with the Trump administration is likely to get held up in a lengthy court battle. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Well, to give you an idea of how lengthy the court battle can be, let's go back to 2012. Back then, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee filed a lawsuit in the battle between the Obama administration and the then Republican-controlled Congress over Operation Fast and Furious. If you remember that, that was the gun-running scheme which allowed criminals to get 2,000 firearms. Well, the lawsuit was filed by the House committee after the Attorney General, Eric Holder, was held to be in contempt of Congress for withholding documents. Well, to give you an idea of how long that suit went through the courts, it was yesterday that the 7-year-old lawsuit was finally settled. And the reason it was settled is there was a change in the administration. So there was no longer any need to pursue it. That's why it settled out. So we're going to have a couple of election cycles here. If they file this lawsuit, will it be 7 years? I don't know, but get your seatbelt on because this is going to be a long time, and we're definitely going to go through a 2020 election before any court rules. This is going to get interesting, and it's going to get even more shrill as people call for impeachment. And is this going to be mired in this? President Trump has already said he's lost 2 years of his administration over this. And from my view, we've got other things going on. And here's one in particular. A new report says North Korea is testing more missiles. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. South Korea's military says the North has test-fired 2 suspected short-range missiles. According to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, one of those missiles flew 260 miles and the other 167 miles. It's Pyongyang's second launch within a week after an apparent short-range ballistic firing Saturday. The U.S. launched an ICBM test just 10 minutes after the North launched its missiles today. Well, vigils were held in Colorado last night to thank the first responders and to honor the school's heroes, including Kendrick Castillo, the student who died protecting his classmates from 2 shooters. The Denver Post reports students protested and walked out of one of the vigils after Democratic politicians and gun control advocates spoke. The students said they wanted to talk about their classmates. Castillo's father did talk about his son's sacrifice.
He did what he had to do, and I knew that was my son's nature. That was who he was. When I see the people that he saved, makes me happy, and I know that my son wouldn't have had it any other way. But as any parent will tell you, you know, it's a heck of a trade-off.
The students eventually returned and were able to speak out. The suspects in the attack were in court Wednesday. They faced nearly 30 charges, including murder. Well, California has overhauled its sex education guidance for public schools with some controversial new steps. The new guidance encourages teachers to talk about gender identity with kindergartners, including telling teachers that kindergartners can identify as transgender. The guidance gives tips for discussing puberty with transgender teens that creates, quote, an environment that is inclusive and challenges binary concepts about gender. It also encourages teachers to give advice to LGBT teenagers on relationships and safe sex practices. LGBT advocates are praising the move, but parents and conservative groups call it an assault on parental rights, arguing those subjects should be taught at home.